Bringing back Mike McCarthy gives everybody a little bit of an awkward pause because it means that nobody really had Jerry Jones figured out correctly. And I noticed a tweet from Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, who basically said, perception does not equal reality with Jerry Jones. Everybody assumes that Jerry is some type of cutthroat competitor who will win a Super Bowl at all costs, is desperate for that Vince Lombardi trophy. And the running joke on social media was during that blowout loss to the Packers, Jerry had Bill Belichick on speed dial by halftime. Jerry would be so irate, so humiliated at yet another playoff collapse, he would absolutely go to the ends of the earth to find himself a winner. And what better offseason to do that than one that includes Bill Belichick and Jim Harbaugh, plus two very good accomplished coaches, Pete Carroll, who's gone to twice as many Super Bowls as Mike McCarthy, and Mike Vrabel, who has years left as a head coach in this NFL. And yet, Jerry decided to do none of it. He did tell the media, and thus the fans, that he was heartbroken after that loss to the Packers, and he went quiet on Monday and Tuesday. And we figured he was in his darkened boardroom, rubbing his hands, petting his cat, and figuring out how the Cowboys would finally win a Super Bowl. And when he emerged from the cloak of darkness and secrecy, what we got was, McCarthy's coming back? And then what we got was the most embarrassing quote of any quote you will see during this coaching carousel. McCarthy standing there with a straight face and saying, "We have a championship program. We just haven't won the championship yet." Yes, the guy that walks up to you in a bar and says, "I'm in the business of dating supermodels. I just haven't found one yet. I've got the plan to be a millionaire. Except at the moment, I'm broke." Mike, keep telling yourself that. Because when Mike and Jerry get together, these are the talking points that McCarthy, I'm sure, uses for Jerry Jones to defend his job and keep his job. And Jerry goes, "Oh, why don't you use that in the press conference? I like that. We're a championship program. We just haven't won that world championship yet." The perception is that Jerry Jones is some type of cutthroat competitor, always striving for that Super Bowl ring. But that's not reality. Because the reality is Jerry Jones has not hired a coach to win a Super Bowl in 35 years. That ever since Jimmy Johnson left, the priority was not win a ring. It was keep Jerry comfortable. Look, let's just go down this list. Jerry Jones walks in 1989 and immediately makes things uncomfortable. He dismisses the legend, Tom Landry. Still, there's a lot of Cowboys fans that will never forgive him for the way he pushed a living legend out the door. He brings in Jimmy Johnson. Also, Jimmy is there to make things uncomfortable. He trades the team's best player, Herschel Walker. He cuts most of the team. He is constantly badgering every player. "We'll find your replacement." And he's a hard driving head coach. It's Jimmy Johnson's way. It works. He assembles an amazing roster. They win back-to-back Super Bowls. And that's when Jerry Jones makes a decision. So there's friction. He can't just let Jimmy do what Jimmy wants. He's overbearing on Jimmy Johnson, and Johnson decides, "I gotta leave. I gotta get out of here. I can't do this." The hire after Jimmy Johnson is a hire to prove anyone can win with this team. To replace Jimmy Johnson, Jerry looked for a buddy, a pal. An assistant coach of the 1964 Arkansas Razorbacks, a team that Jerry played on, was Barry Switzer. Jerry once quipped that there's 500 coaches that could win with the assembled talent we have in Dallas. Switzer didn't even get to hire his own staff. Think about that. We're just putting you in a puppet seat. He needed the next guy not to be Jimmy Johnson. And it worked in both regards. Barry Switzer deferred to Jerry, and they won a Super Bowl. But a lasting image that I have of that 1995 team was the America's Game film by NFL Films, in which Daryl Moose Johnson says that the 95 Cowboys won in spite of their coaching. The dynasty quickly deteriorates under Barry Switzer, who was never a competent NFL coach, even when he won. And when he's dismissed, Jerry Jones turns to Chan Gailey, pushover. When Gailey's a nightmare, he turns to Dave Campo, disaster. These are guys that Jerry Jones manipulates, pushes around. Then in 2003, Jerry finally does hire a guy who will push back, Bill Parcells. But don't be mistaken, Jerry doesn't hire Bill Parcells to win a Super Bowl. Jerry hires Bill Parcells to get public support behind a new stadium. Parcells comes in 2003. There's immediate credibility. And in 2004 and 2005, Jerry Jones strikes his deal to build his brand new world-class stadium, in which there will be revenue streams of money gushing out into his pockets. The original price tag, $650 million. Ultimately, what it came to, $1.15 billion. How do you make sure everybody has an appetite to spend that much more money on your stadium? You have a winner at the helm. Once Jerry gets that stadium done, it's out with Bill Parcells. He once again becomes overbearing and Bill is like, I'm done here. And so the next hire after that, Wade Phillips. Has there ever been a bigger pushover in coaching history than Wade Phillips? Jerry, you can pick the players. Jerry, you can do it your way. I'm just here to coach on Sundays. Wade Phillips, very good coordinator, not a head coach. After Wade flames out, Jerry hires basically his stepson, Jason Garrett. Is Jason Garrett going to challenge Jerry? Garrett may as well have been the nerdy neighbor in an 80s sitcom where Jerry is Philip Drummond and Garrett comes over for a few one-liners. What you talking about, Jerry? Year after year, Jason Garrett proves he's a mediocre head coach, and year after year after year, Jerry keeps him around. Why? Garrett lets Jerry do what Jerry wants to do. Finally, when he's got to replace Jason Garrett, who does he bring in? Mike McCarthy. And the story was they had some type of sleepover. Mike stayed at the mansion. They stayed up all night talking about their football dreams. It was basically stepbrothers. And now, after 4 years, 3 playoff collapses, and 1 complete January humiliation, Jerry pauses and acts like he's going to do something, but ultimately comes back to this: comfort. He knows Mike's not going to challenge his personnel control. He knows Mike's just going to parrot his marching orders. We're a championship program. We just haven't won that championship yet. Jerry talks about a Super Bowl all season long. Jerry can't stop talking about the Super Bowl. That's not ultimately what Jerry wants to get at all costs. He wants people around him that he feels comfortable with. He wants to be the king. He wants to be the emperor. And he certainly doesn't want to be told, you've got no clothes. Jerry loves this existence. Regular season wins means that stadium's all filled up. Star power on the roster means we're on Sunday Night Football, or we're America's game of the week constantly. And what we do is we interpret a guy who's got a lot of power and perhaps the most visible owner in North American sports. And when he talks Super Bowl, we assume, oh, well, that's the only thing that matters to him. And we have it wrong. That perception doesn't meet that reality. That reality is Jerry is 81 years old and he doesn't want anybody to change him now. He's perfectly comfortable as is. So hey, Mike McCarthy, run it back. For more videos like this, subscribe by clicking this button right here. I appreciate it very much. Thanks so much for watching. I'm DA, Damon Amendolara. We'll see you next time.